The city does not sleep, it just changes shifts. I know this because I am still out here at 2 in the morning, moving through streets that most people only see from windows. Semi-retired, they call it. My daughter uses that word like it is a kindness. Like I chose this. Maybe I did. The apartment gets loud when it is empty. Not loud with sound. Loud with the kind of quiet that presses against your ears and does not let up. So I drive. Not full days anymore. Just nights. 4, maybe 5 hours. Enough to feel like I am still part of something moving. The city works for that. It never asks you why you are still up. It just takes you in and carries you forward. I have been doing this for 43 years. Started when I was 25 and thought it was temporary. Thought I would figure out what I really wanted and move on. I never moved on. But I also stopped thinking of it as a failure somewhere around year 12. This is what I do. This is what I know. People think driving a cab is about roads. It is not. It is about the 20 minutes someone spends in the back seat when they think they are alone. When they forget there is a man up front who can hear everything. Who notices the pauses. Who sees what they do with their hands when they think no one is watching. I am not a therapist. I want to be clear about that. I do not offer advice. I do not ask questions. I have no business asking. But I listen. Always have. My ex-wife used to say, I listen to strangers better than I listen to her. She was not wrong. Strangers do not need anything from you except the road ahead. That makes it easier to hear them clearly. Some passengers stay with you, not because they were loud or strange or dramatic. The dramatic ones fade fast. No, the ones who stay are the ordinary ones. The ones who were so quietly, painfully ordinary that something in them matched something in you, and before you could look away, it was already inside you. I think about one of them still, an elderly woman, Brooklyn. Years back, maybe 8 or 9 years now. Nothing about her stood out when she first got in. That was the thing. Nothing stood out at all. Her name was Eleanor Carter. She was carrying a birthday cake. I remember the way she held it on her lap, both hands flat on the sides of the box, like she was steadying something that might otherwise tip over. I should have known then what kind of ride it was going to be. It was a Thursday evening, late October. The kind of cold that had not fully committed yet but was making its intentions clear. I was parked outside a bodega on Atlantic Avenue when the dispatch came through. Pickup on Fulton Street, outside a place called Marin's Bakery. I knew the block. Small storefront. The kind of place that had been there since before anyone started calling Brooklyn a destination. I pulled up and saw her standing on the sidewalk. She was in her mid-70s, I guessed. Small, dressed carefully. The way older women dress when they want to show that the occasion matters to them. A wool coat, navy blue. Her hair set and sprayed. Small pearl earrings. Everything intentional. Everything considered. She was holding a white bakery box with both hands. Flat, like I said. Steady, like she had been holding it that way for a while already and had learned how to make it look effortless. I got out and opened the door for her. She thanked me. Her voice was the kind of voice that had once been louder. You could still hear the shape of it, the authority it used to carry. A voice that had given instructions to people, had run a room. Now, it was softer, measured. She sat down slowly and kept the box on her lap. I asked her where she was headed. She gave me an address on DeGraw Street. I typed it in and pulled out. 2 blocks later, she said, actually, could I try the corner of Kane and Court instead? I said sure and updated the route. A minute after that, she said, no, go back to DeGraw, the original one. She was sorry for the trouble. I changed it back without a word. I have learned not to make people feel stupid for changing their minds. Most of the time, they are not confused. Most of the time, they are working something out, and the address is just the part they say out loud. I watched her in the mirror when I could. She was looking at the box. Not out the window. Not at her phone. She did not have her phone out at all, which you notice because almost no one sits without a phone anymore. She was just looking at the cake. There was something in that, the way she looked at it, not with hunger, not with pleasure, with something more careful than either of those things. Like the cake was evidence of a decision she had already made and was not entirely sure about. I did not say anything. I drove. That is the job. But I filed it away, the way I always do. noted it somewhere in the back of my mind where things go when they do not have a name yet. She spoke first. That surprised me a little. Some passengers never do. She said the cake was lemon. Said the bakery had been making the same lemon cake for 30 years, and she saw no reason to change what worked. I agreed with her. She looked at me in the mirror then, quick and sharp, like she was checking whether I meant it or was just being polite. She had that quality. She did not accept words at face value. She weighed them. Then she said it was her birthday. I told her happy birthday. She thanked me the way people thank you when they did not expect to be acknowledged at all. I asked if she was heading to a celebration. She said her son lived nearby, said she thought she might stop by. She used that phrase, thought she might, like it was still undecided. Like she had not already bought the cake, and dressed carefully, and done her hair. Then she said he was very busy. Said it quickly, the way you say something you have practiced saying. Young people are so busy these days. She said it like a fact about the weather. Neutral. Observed from a distance. I have heard that sentence more times than I can count. Sitting in this seat, in this car, over 43 years. I have heard it from mothers and fathers, and old friends, and people who have not been called back in months. It is always delivered the same way. Gently, protectively. Like the person saying it is building a small shelter around someone who does not even know they need sheltering. Then something shifted. She laughed, short and dry. Not a warm laugh. The kind that comes out when something is so familiar, it has crossed over into absurd. She said, I keep saying that. Busy. As if I do not know what busy looks like. I raised that boy. I know what his busy looks like, and what his not calling looks like, and they are not the same thing. Then she stopped. Like she had walked out further than she meant to, and needed to come back. She looked at the cake again. Her hands reset on the sides of the box. I did not say anything for a block. Then I asked her, gently, how often she saw him. She said, not as often as either of us would like. And she said it in a way that made clear she was being precise about that. Both of them, not just her. That mattered to her. She was not going to make him a villain. She was not going to make herself a martyr. She just wanted to be accurate. I have a daughter. Her name is Rachel. She lives in Portland now, has been there 11 years. We talk on the phone maybe once a month, sometimes less. She has a job she cares about, and a man I have met twice, and a life that does not have much room in it. For a father she was never entirely sure what to do with. The last time I saw her in person was 3 years ago. She came through New York for work. We had dinner at a place in Midtown she chose, because it was close to her hotel. 2 hours, maybe a little less. She talked about a project she was running. I listened. She asked about my knee. I said it was fine. The check came, and she reached for it before I could, and I let her take it, because fighting over it would have required a kind of closeness we no longer had. She hugged me outside on the sidewalk. Brief. The kind of hug that is mostly arms and not much else. Then she got in a cab, and I watched the taillights until they were gone. I drove home that night and told myself she was busy. I used that word for a long time, busy. Said it to my sister when she asked. Said it to myself at night when the apartment got loud. Rachel is busy. She has a lot going on. You know how it is with young people. I believed it because I needed to. Because the other version required something from me I was not ready to give. It required me to sit with the possibility that I had not been enough. That the years I spent in this car, moving through other people's lives, had cost me something permanent in my own. Busy is temporary. Busy implies that somewhere ahead, when things slow down, there will be a correction. A phone call that goes long. A visit that gets planned and actually happens. Busy lets you keep the future open. The other word closes it. I do not know when I stopped using busy. It was gradual. The way most honest reckonings are. You do not wake up one morning and decide to see clearly. You just notice one day that you have already been seeing clearly for a while, and you have been managing it quietly without admitting it to yourself. Rachel is not busy. Rachel is gone in the way that people are gone when they are still alive. Gone in the way that is harder to explain than the other kind, because there is no door that closed, just a drift. Slow and steady. I thought about all of this while Eleanor talked about her son. I did not say any of it. It was not mine to say, but I felt it. the specific weight of what she was carrying, because I had been carrying the same thing in a different pocket for years. We had been driving for about 20 minutes when she said it. No preamble, no building up to it. She just said it, the way people say things when they have been holding them long enough, that holding them any longer takes more effort than letting go. She said her son had forgotten her birthday. Not this year, and the 2 years before it, 3 years in a row. I kept my eyes on the road. She said she did not think it was intentional. She wanted me to know that. She was very clear about it. He was not a cruel person. He was just someone for whom certain things did not register the way they should. She had known this about him since he was young. A good boy, she said, just not one who looked up from his own life often enough to see what was happening in hers. She said it with the tiredness of someone describing a fact they have long since stopped fighting. I asked her if she had called him today. She said no. I asked if he knew she was coming. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said she was not actually going to his apartment. She said she had wanted to drive past it, just past it. She wanted to see if his light was on. She wanted to know if he was home on her birthday. She was not going to stop. She was not going to knock. She just wanted to see the window. I did not say anything to that. There was nothing useful to say. What I thought was this. There is a particular kind of love that has been disappointed so many times. It no longer asks for anything. It does not demand. It does not confront. It just looks for small confirmations that the person is still there, still real, still somewhere inside the life you imagined for them when they were small enough to carry. Driving past a window, not stopping, just looking. I understood that completely. She asked me if I thought she was foolish. She asked it directly, looking up at the mirror. It was the first time she had looked at the mirror the whole ride. I told her no. I told her I thought she was someone who loved her son more carefully than he deserved right now. I said right now, because I believed it. People change. Sometimes slowly, sometimes too late. But I was not going to take the future away from her in the back of my cab on her birthday. She held my eyes in the mirror for a moment. Then she looked away. She said the building was on the next block. I slowed down. The building was a 6-story walk-up on DeGraw, brick. A few lights on in the upper floors. The kind of building that does not announce itself. Just stands there and holds people inside it. I slowed to the pace of someone looking for parking, gave her time without making it obvious I was giving her time. She found the window herself, 3rd floor, 2nd from the left. The light was on, just a lamp, warm and yellow behind a thin curtain, nothing moving, no shadow crossing it. Just the light, steady and still. She looked at it for a long time, maybe 15 seconds, maybe 20, long enough that I kept the car at almost a full stop without either of us acknowledging that I had stopped. Her face in the mirror was not what I expected. It was not sad. It was concentrated, like she was trying to read something written too small to see from the street. Like the light in that window was a sentence she was still trying to finish. Then she said, "Keep going." I drove. Neither of us spoke for a block. Then, too, the bakery box sat on her lap, and she had both hands flat on it again, the way she had at the beginning, back to the beginning. Like the window had returned her to exactly where she started. Then she said, "Is there somewhere nearby we could get coffee?" I told her yes. I knew a place on Smith Street, small diner, open late. The kind of place that does not hurry you. She said that sounded fine. Then she said, "I used to bring him to a diner near here when he was small, Saturday mornings. He always ordered the same thing and always acted surprised when it arrived, like he had forgotten he ordered it." She smiled at that, a real smile, something retrieved from a long time ago and still intact. I parked and walked her in. The hostess seated us in a booth by the window. I told Eleanor I had some time if she did not mind the company. She said she did not mind at all. She said it like she meant it. I ordered 2 coffees. She opened the bakery box and cut 2 slices with a plastic knife she had thought to bring from home. She had thought to bring a knife. She had planned for the possibility of this. Of sitting somewhere quiet with someone. Of not being entirely alone with the cake she had bought herself. That detail stayed with me. We talked about Brooklyn, about how it had changed, about the diner she used to bring him to, long since closed, turned into something with exposed brick and a menu written on a chalkboard. She shook her head at that, said some things should be left alone. I agreed with her. She checked whether I meant it. This time I think she decided I did. I drove her home an hour later. She thanked me at the door of her building, shook my hand. Her grip was firm, deliberate, the grip of someone who wanted you to know the gesture was real. I watched her go inside. Then I sat in the car for a while, before I started the engine. I think about her sometimes. Nights like tonight, when I am out here past midnight and the city gets quiet enough to hear myself think. I think about the cake and the window and the plastic knife she had the foresight to pack. I think about the way she laughed in the car, short and dry, when she caught herself saying busy. The way she corrected herself out loud. The way she refused to lie even to protect herself. There was something clean about that, something I have not always managed. I think about Rachel too, that sidewalk in Midtown, the hug that was mostly arms. I do not call it busy anymore. I do not call it anything anymore. I just carry it, the way Eleanor carried that box. Both hands flat, steady, like something that might tip over if you stop paying attention. The light on the bridge is red ahead of me. I slow down. A couple gets in at the corner, young, laughing about something. They give me an address in Midtown and go back to their conversation like I am not there. I pull forward when the light changes. The city takes us all in. It does not ask what we are carrying. It just moves.